안녕하세요, 다니엘.
Hello, hello. 안녕하세요. Good to see you, Erika.
Yes, good to see you again. I think it's been like 2 years since we first had the live writing essay coaching
Yeah,
session,
it's
right?
been a while. It's been a while. It's good to see you again, and it's great to see all the amazing things that you've been doing as well.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You too as well. Yeah, so I've always wanted to talk to you about like how you moved to Canada and then now you moved to Toronto and you've been doing also lots of great things like in education, especially with international students. So
Hmm.
yeah, maybe we can start from a little bit of yourself.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I'm originally from England, from the UK, and in 2011 I moved to Korea to teach English. I lived
Yeah.
there for like 4 years almost. And I really loved that experience, living in a new country, a new culture, learning a new language. And I really got into kind of not just teaching, but also, creating content, making good lessons, connecting with students, trying to really immerse myself in a culture. And that led to me going back to the UK to pursue my master's degree, my teaching certification, and when I think in 2017 was when I moved to Canada. So
Mm-hmm.
I started off in Vancouver, which was great. It was a really great experience. And then after 4 or 5 years in Vancouver, I spent a little bit of time on the East Coast in Halifax, and now I'm in Toronto at the moment. So I'm really happy because I get to work with students from all over the world, help people from all over the world to settle in Canada and to become comfortable in Canada, and also help people improve their English, most importantly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that's really the biggest difference from like other like traditional teachers because you always make content. I also often see your articles on LinkedIn, and I
Hmm.
really enjoy reading those. And because our first session was also the you were correcting my English essay, and you just right away you noticed like, oh, this is like a common mistake
Hmm.
by like Korean students. So for me, it was very helpful, you know.
I'm
So
glad to hear it. Yeah, again, it's about getting to know your students and getting to know like your clients if it's a business, and
yeah,
knowing the difficulties or problems they have and trying to offer solutions to help them with that. So I think that's important. And I'm glad to know that you read my articles because I didn't think anyone read them. So it's good to know.
no, like I don't think people really like comment, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I know that. And
I'm
I know
always
you know that as well in your social media adventure too.
yeah, content creation, yes.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, so what brought you to like Canada, like specifically Vancouver? You could
That's a
have gone to
great
like any other
question.
countries.
Yeah, that is a great question. There's a few reasons. I think mainly is because it was because when I was in Canada, in Korea, I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of friends, teacher friends, who were all from Canada. So I got to meet a lot of Canadians, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually visited Canada a few times before I moved to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a really nice connection that I made with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it made it much easier for me to make the move because I already knew people. I'd been to Vancouver before, so I knew what that was like. I'd been to Toronto before, so I knew what that was like. And
Mm,
initially, I was like, the winter is too cold in Toronto. There's too much snow.
right.
But it rains a lot in Vancouver. It's rain city, so I was like, I always promised myself that I would try living in both places.
Oh.
So I was able to do that eventually. But Vancouver, I think, because for the lifestyle, I think it's more. People say it's more laid back, it's more relaxed than other cities. And I think it's you know, if it's a if you're young and you want to travel and explore and see the world, it's a great place to live for a few years. But maybe settling down and buying a house there might be a bit more difficult, but for sure, it's a good place to start.
Yeah, I think that that's a common like thought before moving to Canada. Like, okay, where should I go? Like Vancouver, Toronto. So that's
Hmm.
why I was like, "Ah, yeah, Daniel is the first person I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask.
Sure.
Yeah. So did you also work in your home country and you moved to Korea to work, and then you've
Hmm.
been working in Canada as well.
Right.
So What's your working experience in Canada compared to England?
I'll try to give a diplomatic answer because I mean, there's some good, some bad in every place. So,
Of course, yes.
um, just in terms of teaching, so my experience of teaching in the UK, I'll
Mhm,
compare UK and Canada because they're quite similar in some ways. I
mhm,
think the work culture in the UK is for as a teacher is not the best environment in terms of pay and conditions and workload. It's quite
mm,
intensive.
mhm,
So I worked in high schools and I worked in kind of college settings. So it was okay, but again, the pay didn't really reflect it, and the quality of life wasn't great. And just on a personal note, I saw a lot of changes in terms of like culture and atmosphere and the way people were behaving,
mm,
which I didn't really enjoy that change. So
mm,
I had friends and I had people who worked in Vancouver in education, so I thought I would give that a try. And my experience in Canada has been really good. The thing that made it the best for me, like you know, Jian, is the students is what made it great. Like I get
mm,
to work with, especially adults at the university level. I get to work with students who are like motivated. They are, excited. They have a lot of curiosity about things and they have a great attitude towards learning because like me, like them, moving to a new country, we want to do well, we want to be
mm,
successful, we want to adapt and be comfortable. So I think my experience in Canada has been much better in terms of the workload and the work-life balance, and especially being, in Vancouver is, you're not more than like 20 minutes from the beach or a hike or a
oh,
trail or,
do you
great
miss
places to
those?
eat.
Don't you miss those?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. But again, every place has its pros
Yeah.
and cons. But definitely there's some aspects I really do miss. But again, now I'm away from Vancouver. I have been
Mhm.
for a little bit. I can appreciate those things and I can realize what I missed and then yeah, and think about the other side as well. But yeah, it's been great. And I definitely say for work-life balance, pay, benefits, quality of life, I think the working experience in Canada has been much better for me.
Mm, okay, that's really great answer. Like also diplomatic for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So now are you doing your own business alone, or are you still teaching at like school, university?
Yeah, so I have been kind of, trying to, like you, Erica, trying to juggle a few things. So like I really love being in the classroom. So I've, throughout this, there's been some months where I've just worked on my business and then some months where I've done 1 or 2 days in the classroom. So right now my focus is on my business, which is primarily around helping international students, people who want to move to Canada, who want to, start a new life in a new country. So it's giving them solutions to those things for English. Maybe it is interview skills, maybe it is IELTS specifically, which I've been working on a lot. Maybe it is just general speaking and wanting to fit into a workplace or a new environment. So that's kind of my been my focus. And then to complement that as well, just for variation as well, a little bit of work in university, so teaching things like writing, communication, business, and English. So it's a nice balance and it's a nice kind of way to vary things in my week. But yeah, I would say my priority right now is on my business and trying to help as many people as possible.
I see. So you're not just teaching English. You are more like you're giving advice in general, like when the newcomers come to Canada. You're like a mentor slash English teacher.
Yeah, I would like to think of myself as like a coach in terms of like if it was
Mhm,
you, Erica, coming to Canada, okay,
mhm,
what do I need to know? How can I do this? What skills do I need? And what these are my problems. And then my job is to help offer solutions to those problems so that you can find a job or get your visa or get your work permit or get the IELTS score you need to apply for things. So that's kind of what I offer. And I've been able to work with a lot of
mhm.
people and help a lot of people. And when they say like, when I've met them or they've told me like, Daniel, you were the reason that this was possible or you helped play a part in
Oh,
that, like that's priceless. So yeah.
yeah, for sure. So do you have like a package depending on their needs? Like how does it work?
Great question. So generally, if there is a client who needs help with something, I would generally ask them to just to book a call, a meeting, so we can talk maybe for 15 or 20 minutes, because I think it's really easy to say, like, as a business or offering English, okay, I have this program at this price. Well,
Mm,
everyone's different. Everyone has different needs. So generally what I would do is I would work with that student. So let's take, for example, if it's you, Erica, you say, I need help with writing and I need help with my interview skills.
mm,
Okay, well, I have courses and packages and materials for those, so we can put them together. How much time do we need? What's your level?
mm,
What are your goals? And then we can work together for that. So that's generally what I do. I try to make it very individualized and personal, and then
mm,
we find a way to work through that. So that's generally how I do things. So yeah, we meet, we talk, we make sure we're a good fit as well, because sometimes we might not be a good fit, and that's fine.
mm,
That's life. So I try to make sure that that works, and then we create a plan. So we say, here's what success looks like. Here's how we're going to get there. It maybe takes 1 or 2 or 3 months, but we
mhm,
can work on that. So that's generally how we do it. We meet, we create a plan, and then we talk about how we're going to get there. So that's how we do it,
mm.
depending on what you need in English. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I think it just makes sense because everyone is different. Like literally everyone is different.
sure.
And you cannot just give like cookie cutter answer to like someone in a very specific situation.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
But
like
we know that many people try to do that, which is not a good idea. So that's the problem,
yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I already have like many students I can like refer to you because I think I also want to do the same thing. I want to help international students because I've been through that, and like now I really have like many followers ask me similar questions.
Mhm.
So in my situation, I'm trying to help through my content. But you can give more like one-on-one help, I guess, if
Yeah,
that's what you're
and
providing. So,
I've been through that experience. I was an immigrant, a new immigrant to Canada. I went through a lot of the same
mm,
struggles that people face, and I lived in Korea and I adapted to that environment and that language and that culture. So I have done it maybe in reverse, but so I can kind of feel the struggles that people face and try to offer
mm,
solutions to help them, especially when it comes to English language, English communication, and writing and IELTS and things like that.
right. So, what kind of questions do you get from?
From followers and students and clients and people, generally it's like, I want to be fluent. And then
Yeah.
my next question is, what
Like,
do you mean when you say
yeah.
fluent? That's a really difficult way
Mhm,
to answer. Or sometimes it's expectations, because I understand like pressure is on and things are really expensive. And it's like, I've taken
mhm,
IELTS 3 times. I have to pass with a 7.5 like next month. And I
mhm.
already booked the test. And I'm like, no, please don't do that. So I think it's kind of those kinds of questions, or it's I want to move to Canada, I don't know where to start, or I want to study
Mm,
at this university, where do I begin? And luckily, I have a little bit of knowledge about that, so I can help. But those are the main things, and then probably the biggest question I get is, yeah, how can I talk? How can I speak like you? How can I talk English like you? And I'm like, why would
um,
you want to talk like me? That's not good. So those are some questions I get.
I see. So the conversation usually start from there, and then you try to give them more tailored answer to their
Right.
situation.
So we'd have a conversation like this, Erica, and I just ask you to talk to me about, like, what are your goals? What are
Mm,
you finding difficult? What are you having trouble with? And what kind of problems that are affecting you at that time?
mhm,
And then based on what problems or what things you've talked about, I can then suggest some solutions,
mm,
some short-term solutions, some medium-term solutions, some long-term solutions, and we can, and then I can suggest, okay, well, we could maybe have this program or this course or this package, and we put something together that works for that person specifically, so that they can be successful. And yeah, it's been a good journey, and it seems to be something that works. And I'm really happy to see that, and I'm just happy that I get to help people as well. That's the main thing for me.
that's great. Maybe it's a personal question, but like, did you get
Mhm.
a PR or a citizenship, or are you
Yeah,
born?
that's totally fine to ask. I initially moved to Canada on a working holiday visa, like a lot of people do, a lot of young people do. I
Mhm.
was just under the cutoff. And luckily, because I had work experience in Canada, that helped me with the points when I applied for permanent residence. So I
Mm,
went through that journey. That was quite easy for
mm,
me, luckily. I know it's not easy for a lot of people. And then I actually applied for citizenship. So I'm just waiting for my citizenship test. And
mm.
then hopefully soon I will be a Canadian citizen. That is the goal. That is the dream. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you need to give up your UK citizenship?
No, UK a lot accepts dual nationalities. A lot of countries do. Some countries don't. So I know it differs. I know Korea, for example, you can't
Mm,
do that.
yeah.
But yeah, it is possible to hold Canadian and British citizenship at the same time. So yeah,
That's great. That's great. Good
yeah.
for you.
Thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And also, I'm curious about your entrepreneurship. So,
Hmm.
how do you find starting your own business in Canada? Have you, but you were teaching in the UK, so maybe you, we cannot really compare like one to one, but
No.
how do you find doing your own business here?
Honestly, there is a lot of help and a lot of guidance if you know where to start and you know where to begin.
Mm,
So luckily, for me, there's some training or some courses that you can do, like
mhm,
relatively inexpensive ones. We're not talking about spending thousands of dollars, but for me as a teacher,
mhm,
I want to create a business where I can help impact many students and help them with their problems and offer solutions. So, I followed some courses, I worked with some coaches, some mentors. And again, that helped give me some clarity. And then in terms of the business and the systems and things, like in the
mhm,
province, like BC has a lot of workshops and courses and
mm,
mentorship available for new immigrants starting a business.
yeah,
I know in Toronto it's the same as well. There's grants, there's funding, there's things that you can access to
mm,
help you get started. So there is a lot of help available. Again, I'm not going to pretend that it's really easy. It isn't. Like there's so many things to do every day.
mm,
It is quite hectic.
mm,
The most difficult thing I would say, I think you can understand this too, is putting out content on social media regularly. That's the most difficult thing. So that's the
right.
challenge. Yeah, and it's been, I guess, just over 1 year actually since I started my actual business properly.
Mhm.
So it's been a good journey, and there's still a lot of things I want to do and achieve. But yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think for me, yes, I also want to do my own business sometime soon in Canada. And that's what I've been noticing. There are lots of support for immigrants.
Yes.
And this country, like, genuinely is like trying to help them to succeed in this country. But it makes sense. It's good for them as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah. But I don't know. When I was in Korea as a Korean, I didn't really think about that, right? Like how foreigners and immigrants settle down in Korea. I didn't
Hmm.
really need to think about it. But now I'm in like foreign country and then I need some help, then there's always help available here. So
Yeah.
that's really great. And yeah, so thank you,
Cool.
Canada, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that opportunity, right? And I think the country really benefits because lots of young people with skills and talents and education come here and they want to contribute and give back and help make the country a better place, I hope. So hopefully it's win-win in that case. But yeah, I think it's only positive.
Yes. Yeah, and it's good that many of my followers are like international students, and I think we share like the common ground. Your students, like your followers and mine. So I love this like conversation will help our both followers, and if they need like more help in more details, they want to know more, then yes, they can go to your social media. Are you
Yeah, definitely.
your like most active channel? Like,
So you guys, if you want to, if you need some help or you have any questions, you can find me at Expert English Solutions. So it's expertenglish.solutions. That is
mhm,
my Instagram, expertenglish.solutions. My website also,
mhm.
expertenglish.solutions. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, which is where I have a lot of a lot more information, and I publish a lot of content there. That's just my name, Daniel Shaw, so you can find me there as well. So,
Yes,
again, if you have any questions, you want to, find out a little bit more about what I can offer or how I can help you, then feel free to reach out.
yes. We will put everything in the description.
Sounds good. All right. That's
네,
great.
thank you so much, Daniel.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Thanks, Erica. See you soon. Bye.
감사합니다. 안녕.